Well, hello there. My name is Barbara Polk, and I use the pronouns she and her. I'm a 56-year-old black woman with brown highlighted hair. I wear glasses, and I'm really wearing a polka dot dress. I am so happy to be here with all of you today. And as I planned for today's talk, I thought about how grateful I am to be able to attend this conference and for us all to gather. You know, studies have shown that gratitude improves physical and mental health. For the record, I am the least likeliest person to be on this stage. I was born to a teen mother, and my family struggled financially, or, in other words, we were poor. I had, by any measure, a challenging and unconventional childhood. I was even the first in my extended family to graduate college. And at an early age, I had no choice but to be resilient, forward-thinking, and resourceful. But these experiences, in hindsight, gave me the ability to know that anyone, all of us, have potential. Read my book. I believe that we all have the potential to learn to adapt, to continuously learn, and to contribute to our organization's success and growth. I've also had the opportunity to work in a variety of industries, and I've observed a key similarity that exists with vastly different organizations. And successful organizations that can sustain all types of business challenges are organizations who have loyal and engaged employees. They understand the interdependence of that success with culture and the employee experience. And they know that their most important asset are their employees. So that brings me to my current role at the Kennedy Center. And as the video illustrated, it's a place where mission-driven employees and artists come together to create beautiful, compelling, and thought-provoking art. Through theatrical performances, dance, our orchestras, the opera, social impact efforts, and educational outreach, we seek to engage and delight adults and children, as well as fulfill the legacy of JFK. It can be harmonious or beautiful chaos. But as the nation's cultural performing arts center, we have purpose, and there is a passion to connect and to serve. When COVID began to impact the center, like many organizations, we experienced the rapid consequence of business closures. The center is a hybrid federal agency, and we're deeply grateful that as a living memorial to JFK, it means that our building and grounds are maintained by government funding, but our performing arts activities are not. So loss of this performance revenue meant an immediate impact to our operations and to our people. To give you a sense of scale, in 2019, there were over 1,500 performances, ticketed performances. And the most difficult decision was to furlough staff, and then salary reductions for the staff that remained working, and then lastly, reductions in force. You know, our commitment to our staff remained constant. Our fundraising team identified and solicited support from generous donors so we could provide emergency funding to furloughed staff. We continued medical coverage for our furloughed colleagues, and we identified local resources to help our staff and their families as the pandemic evolved. And I completely understand that the center's size in comparison to other arts and cultural organizations meant that we had resources that some did not, but the level of fear was high, and the unknowable future rocked our staff and our leadership. We had to pivot, and we had to leverage all of our creativity to navigate COVID safely, with protocols to keep our employees, artists, and patrons safe. Who knew that Zoom choruses and dance performances, opera in a truck, or Mo Willems, a beloved children's author and our education artist in residence, could host lunchtime doodles watched by millions. We hosted a hybrid Kennedy Center honors. We unleashed our digital content so people could experience the center's virtual history and celebrate it when our massed audiences came to our campus again. Pretty cool. Also, over the past few years, it has felt as if every societal issue converged and was magnified. Historical racial inequity, the murder of George Floyd, and nationwide protests, the Black Lives Matter movement, vaccine controversy, the rise of political polarization, the Me Too movement, Time's Up, labor shortages, the fragility of our healthcare system, on and on. And this collective trauma has impacted our outlook and perspective on all aspects of our lives. Some also call it COVID clarity, And it means that for many, our priorities have shifted. Attitudes around our work has changed, and organizations must change too in response. Traditionally, work has been based on transactional motivation. Even in mission-driven organizations, we get paid, we receive medical coverage, reward and recognition, we hope for professional advancement. Our personal lives are often intentionally separate, and we juggle for balance. Think of experiential motivation as additive to transactional motivation because, we still want our paychecks. But increasingly, employees are seeking greater work-life balance, and for some, the ability to work remotely is an option they'd like to retain. There's even a desire to focus on physical and mental wellness. A recent study estimated there were 53 million cases globally of major depression developed over the past few years. So how can we make work easier with reasonable workloads? In a performing arts setting, constant heroic, reactionary efforts can lead to burnout and reduced job satisfaction. Competitive pay must be an ongoing goal. Working for a nonprofit has to be sustainable. And we must recognize and acknowledge the diversity of our employees' age, race, sexual orientation, and identity, and even gender, for example, and how they experience working with each other, our audiences, patrons, and donors. So, what's the Kennedy Center doing? Let me clarify that the center has a multitude of employee demographics, including federal staff and union staff, for which alignment with a myriad of collective bargaining agreements requires careful handling. So for the purpose of this talk, I'm focusing on our largest employee group, which we call trust employees. And they represent, artistic programming, administrative staff for the Washington National Opera, the National Symphony Orchestra, and the Kennedy Center as a whole. Fundraising, events, marketing, IT, finance, legal, government relations, HR, education, operations, campus planning, ushers. I could go on and on. But I have to keep this under 15 minutes, so this population is what I'm going to highlight. So we're focusing on diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility, and belonging. We've created employee resource groups, or ERGs, and we're offering book clubs, speakers, training, social gatherings, and we're building connection and better understanding of how to intentionally support our employees. That's me at book club. Zoom book club. We're prioritizing physical and mental health. Lunchtime yoga on KC Lawn, walking programs got really competitive, meditation Mondays, and community discounts for our employees from local gyms, shops, and restaurants. Webinars on managing stress and anxiety, and this was the biggie, summer early release Fridays. This is yoga. This is my favorite part of yoga. It's lunchtime yoga. You need to rest. So we also want to support continuous learning so that our employees can truly reach their potential. The mutual benefit that's gained when new skills can be leveraged throughout the center, it's immeasurable. Online, classroom, peer training is offered to our employees. We've enhanced our orientation processes, and we're listening to our new hires. We're hosting 30 and 90-day check-ins to gain insight from their newcomer perspectives and to remove obstacles to their onboarding. We've made investments in technology with the goal of making work easier and more efficient and to replace outdated manual processes when appropriate. And we're continuing to support hybrid work schedules when possible. And lastly, we're reframing our institutional priorities to be in alignment with our current needs and our future aspirations. I think this quote is still relevant today. Change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past or the present are certain to miss the future. John F. Kennedy. Thank you for listening. With gratitude.